It's Wednesday, March 8th. It's International Women's Day and time for your Barbados Day morning news update. I'm Kmar Jordan. So glad you could join us. Good morning. Well, it's payback time for the Friendle-Stewart government based on the 2017-2018 estimates of revenue and expenditure laid in the House of Assembly yesterday. Of the $4.5 billion the Friendle-Stewart government plans to spend, a whopping $1.8 billion will go towards the settlement of outstanding loans. State agencies will also continue to benefit from the government's largesse. Just over $1 billion has been set aside for state transfers, with government barely shaving a meager $29 million from last year's budget. The Queen Elizabeth Hospital will get the lion's share of subventions, though not an increase. $146 million has been allocated to the state-run healthcare institution. Tourism is also guaranteed strong support. The Barbados Tourism Investment Inc. will get $87 million, while the Barbados Tourism Product Authority will get $8 million. The Welfare Department is in line to receive $19 million, while the Barbados Drug Service will get $12 million. The estimates also include $15 million for road rehabilitation and $15 million for the Barbados Water Authority's projects. The Barbados Sanitation Service Authority, that's the SSA, will receive $29 million and $13.5 million will go to the Public Sector Smart Energy Fund. An allocation has also been made for empty-handed CLICO and British American policyholders, but no provision has been made for salary increases for public servants. And while the CLICO policyholders are quietly celebrating their good news, one of the island's trade unions is not at all amused that there's no allocation for salary hikes. In fact, the president of the National Union of Public Workers, Akani McDowell, tells Barbados Today his union has called an emergency meeting for next Monday to discuss the matter. McDowell says while he understands that government has dire economic challenges on its hands to solve, it has a duty to return to the bargaining table with the unions with a counter-offer. Since last October, the NUPW has been demanding a 23% wage hike. McDowell says it's disrespectful for the government to lay the estimates without talking first with the trade unions. And of course, we know that the Barbados Workers Union has been demanding a 15% pay hike for its members. Meantime, the opposition Barbados Labour Party serves notice it will be ready when the estimates debate begins in the House of Assembly next Monday. But the party is not at all comforted by the estimates or the government's general economic plan. In fact, the BLP's General Secretary, Jerome Walcott, that should be Dr. Jerome Walcott, has branded the recent establishment of two working committees to analyze the island's dwindling foreign reserves and its spiraling deficit as an exercise in futility. At a press conference yesterday to set out plans for Saturday's March of National Disgust being staged by the opposition, Walcott says the advisory groups will be a little too late since they're coming after the estimates were tabled.
I would figure that we would have done that during the discussions coming up to the estimates meeting. Because I don't know if you're aware, discussions on the estimates start in the various ministries as early as September and October in the previous year. And one would have thought that, they're aware of what is happening in terms of the situation, in terms of, at least in January, 3 months before the estimates, if you would have put together these various working groups and have their input into the estimates before you go to debate in the Parliament, as opposed to laying estimates on Tuesday today for discussion next week, and then you're asking these working groups to report to you in 2 and 3 weeks, which is after the estimates. So it all seems a bit, I don't know, in terms of the timing of it. I agree with you, it's too late.
In other news, tears flowed freely as family and friends gathered at the Sharon Moravian Church in St. Thomas to bid farewell to Andrew Kingboy King yesterday. He was shot to death on February 18th in the wee hours of the morning while liming with friends in Holetown, St. James. During a moving eulogy read by his aunt, Maria King, Kingboy was remembered as a loyal, outgoing, extremely polite, and a caring young man.
He always had that infectious humor. And then you think you can only smile and in return at the things Kingboy would have said. Andrew was taken suddenly and tragically from us in the early hours of February the 18th, 2017. We are comforted by his kindness, happiness, happiness with life and determination to success. Andrew had a heart of gold, and his memory will continue to live on in all our hearts. Andrew, rest in peace.
Also paying tribute to King Boy was his cousin and best friend, Ramon Leacock. He recounted special times he shared with his deceased relative.
And you always loved it, Betty. I was glad you did. I will tell you what, for me to be able to go outside and play, I would have to finish with the pool. And everyone knows that I was never a babysitter. So little did my grandmother know that the every time that he came up with me and helped me eat, so that I could go home. And I was grateful for that.
King Boy was laid to rest at the Coral Ridge Memorial Gardens in Christchurch.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Get your paper, get your paper. Only $2.25, $2.20. Who? For what? That's Bear Stare News. I don't read about that on Barbados today since last night. That can't only can't do. $2.20. Who?
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
In regional developments, Jamaica's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Winston de la Haye, has confirmed the first case of microcephaly from a mosquito virus after rigorous testing by the Caribbean Public Health Agency and the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, that's the CDC. The case, first identified in January, involved a baby born in December at the Victoria Hospital in Kingston to a mother who had a rash during her pregnancy. Microcephaly is a birth defect and when a baby's head is smaller than expected when compared to babies of the same sex and age. Meantime, on the international front, police are investigating a gruesome crime in a small town in North Carolina. Authorities report that a teenage boy, get this, killed his mother by cutting off her head. We get more on this tragic story now from ABC 13.
I'm not sure the time frame will be here as long as it takes to ensure that we do a thorough search. You know, we owe it to the victims to make sure it's done in the proper manner. So once it gets to the courthouse, then, you know, justice can be served.
Officials at the Sheriff's Department aren't going into much detail here, but they say a teenager has been charged in the death of a woman inside his own home, that she was decapitated. They say he then called 911 on himself and waited for deputies to arrive. That call coming in just before 1 this afternoon. We know 2 young girls were home at the time. Sisters, we believe, of this young man. We're told they're okay. Social services here to help with that right after this happened. We're also told that there is video, at least of the crime scene when deputies arrived. They wear body cams here. Far too early, of course, to know whether that will be helpful as this investigation goes forward.
And on that sad note, we end our morning news update, but there's more online at www.barbadosday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or you can like us on Facebook. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, our screenplay in supermarkets, or a gas station near you. Also check us out on Channel 99, that's Flow TV, or Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Kmar Jordan. To all the ladies out there, happy International Women's Day, and be sure to join us later on today around midday for our next update.